We like to start every morning with something we fondly refer to as the jargon of the day. This is when we take on one word, one phrase, one acronym, and we try to figure out what does it mean? Why do I need to know? Who cares? Right? But you find out when put in the right context, you find out exactly what it does mean and how it translates for you. So our jargon term for the day is telehealth. And we brought this up briefly yesterday, and we're going to be talking more about it in just a few minutes with my special guest. But let's take a look at what the actual definition, according to Wikipedia, is for telehealth. Telehealth involves the distribution of health-related services and information. Distribution is via electronic information and telecommunication technologies, and that is straight from Wikipedia, my friends. All right, but that's a little bit hard for me to get my head wrapped around. So let's move on to our working definition. And our working definition is utilizing technology to make some aspects of healthcare more practical, available, and affordable. So when you think about all the different ways that telehealth can be applied, it's mind-boggling, right? But let's not worry about every way that it can be applied. Let's just talk about some autism-specific ways that it can be applied. And when you think about the fact that if you have a kiddo, there are certain times when we want kiddos to get out and be in the world and do things. But there are times when if we didn't have to, it would make it easier for them to accomplish the thing we're trying to accomplish. For instance, I was just at the dentist yesterday, and again, I'm not going to go into what made me cry yet. That I might have to save that for next week. But in any case, there are times when our kids need to have instruction on things like how to brush their teeth and how to floss, right? And the truth is you can drag them all the way to the dentist and take them away from therapy that's important for them to take them to learn this all important thing, right? We don't want their teeth to fall out of their head. It's important, right? But the 20 minutes that it takes you to get to the dentist, the 20 minutes you have to wait in the waiting room, the child gets anxious and there's sensory things going on there. By the time the child goes in to have that lesson about the brushing the teeth, maybe they're not in a place where they can learn it, right? This is not what's really productive. What if the child who's very technology driven anyway had the opportunity to do this online in an interactive way where they could see the person and the person could see them? What we find is that with a lot of kids on the autism spectrum, they would rather do it through an iPad and have a conversation with somebody through, for instance, Skype or something like that, where they could have the conversation back and forth and see each other. And so that maybe the hygienist can see and go, no, you need to move the dental floss this way, do it the way I'm showing you. And we find in some cases, not in all cases, that this might be more conducive to them learning. But that's just one example, right? There's 1,000,008 examples of how telehealth can improve the way in which we deliver therapies and help and support to individuals with autism. And so we're going to be talking more about that specifically in a little while. But telehealth, if you remember that the whole point of it is that it's not going to work for everything. Let's just get that right out of the way. You're not going to be able to do everything that you could do face-to-face. You're not going to be able to do a prostate exam via telehealth. Right? You just can't do that. But whenever it's talky kind of stuff, you absolutely can. And there's a lot of talky stuff that happens in ABA and in autism treatment. So, and it's a lot less expensive and it's better for the environment if we do it via telehealth. So we're going to talk more about that in just a minute. But let's move on for the moment to the question of the day because we got to hurry. We're on a timer here. Okay, so our question of the day today is what would you change about your healthcare to make it more user-friendly? Now, you write in on Facebook, and I think that this is an important question from the woman who just went to the dentist yesterday. There are some things about our healthcare that aren't working, right? For each and every one of us. But if we can't figure out what would make it better, then how are we expecting politicians and other people to? So, you know what Dr. Phil says, you have to name it to claim it. So let's spark some ideas out there. What would make it better for you? and then we can discuss all that. It may not ever come to fruition, but if we don't know what we're going for, then how can we ever get it, right? Telehealth is now legal in a lot of places here in the United States, and it's something that makes a great deal of sense if used with common sense. Again, no prostate exams through telehealth. That doesn't make sense, right? But there are a lot of things that do make sense. Okay, so write in and tell us, because we want to know what you guys think about that. And then we want to move on to our topic of this show and of this week is nothing about us without us. Here's the humbling truth, is that we can, as parents, and remember on this show we like to say that everybody is included in this community: parents, teachers, practitioners, and of course individuals who are on the spectrum. And a lot of times those of us who aren't on the spectrum, we plan and plot and come up with ways to help support individuals who are on the autism spectrum. And we need to constantly be checking in and see if what we're doing is helpful and useful and supportive. Because you know this in your life, that, as whether you're a parent or a teacher, practitioner, or a person on the spectrum, you need support. You need support. I, as a parent of a child on the spectrum, need support. And sometimes people think they're being helpful and they're not. They're just not. And you kind of want to shake them. And I don't know about you, I don't want to be that to my son, and I don't want to be that to members of the community.